We're zooming in to see if they're natural or man-made. Here we've got a nice structure. See the towers on one side of the excavation and the little fine ones on the other side. The only problem is we've got that rectangular type of excavation around it, which it doesn't look natural. This is seen here as well. We've got a definite rectangular patterns. The height of that tower is about 50 meters. We zoom in there again, we got the towers and we got that rectangular type excavation around it. That does not look like a natural structure. This is one more example. We've got perpendicular shapes, right angle shapes. Again, we have the structure inside the excavation and larger towers on one side, smaller ones on the other, and what seems like a rectangular excavation around it. This can't be a natural structure. Again, it's very difficult to see how these could be a natural type of crystalline formations or anything like that. Here we have a large congregation. Next, of course, we see the rectangular area around it, squares, towers, internal structure in the excavation, and a very fine tower system on the other side. Again, how can this be a natural formation when we have this pattern repeating everywhere, especially with right angles and zigzag patterns? Very hard to believe this could be a natural formation. Height there is probably, the length is probably about 70. Yes, I was correct. Again, this video we're trying to discern, could this possibly be a natural formation? Now these are very good structures to look at to test that theory. There's too many zigzag patterns, there's too many courtyards around the here we've got the same pattern again. We have all the towers on one side, a very fine pattern on the other, and one little rod tower in the center of the excavation. That's about 70 meters. Here we have one more zigzag pattern around it. Same thing happening here as well. We have that excavation around it, which is usually squarish, rectangular. We've got the large towers on one side. We've got the smaller ones and usually one or two internal. How can this be a natural structure? I don't know. It's beyond looking natural. There's always a set formation, a set building type, always an excavation or courtyard around it, which is rectangular shape. Internal structures. There's three inside there, and again these are two joined together. That can't be a natural formation, obviously. Same here as well. It isn't how we would build things on Earth, but obviously this is not Earth. Here we go again. We got a definite structure, zigzag patterns around it, rectangular courtyards around one side. Again, huge towers on one side, very small fine system on the other. We got a greenery happening as well. I assume that's vegetation. One other example of why, this can't be a natural structure. Again, they always follow the same format. Let's zoom into this area here. Same thing. Every area we see has the same type of formation, where there's a crater, large towers on one side, a very small system on the other, and usually one or two towers inside the crater. And again, if this was man-made, you would see mounds of earth. I don't know if you can call it earth. Mounds of soil where it's been excavated. Here we go again. There's too many rectangular formations there. They don't look like they're just natural crystalline formations. There's always that excavation around the towers that produces that sort of courtyard effect. Here we have a large group of them, and again on the other side they're very thin structure. Every time we try to use this theory it works. So here we have a very definite square-like structure happening around there. That's right. We try some other areas as well. Again, same type of pattern, same rod structures. Same rod structures there. We zoom in again to look over other things. Here's a good example. A very large horizontal rod, about I think 170 inside the crater. That's always a common feature. They're inside the crater edge. And then we've got this common feature again, excavation, large towers on one side, a very fine system on the other. So we've got two examples of common patterns in that picture. Now this is the best example why this couldn't be a natural formation. It is so clear. There's right angles happening. There's the rod cylinder structures, larger one on one side, smaller fine system on the other. A vertical one inside the excavation. There's no mounds of soil outside there to indicate man-made construction. These are very large. I think the whole system is about 170 wide. So that's one of the best examples why this couldn't be a natural formation. It's very clear. There's a lot of tubes involved, cylinders. There's no roads that lead to it, or there's no mounds of soil that was a man-made construction that was dug out. I always refer to this structure here as my best example why this couldn't be a natural formation, yet it isn't a human formation either, because there's no indications of excavation or construction or roads that lead to it. It's very hard to believe that it is an alien type of structure, but it follows all the rules of all the other structures. And you've got the ancient towers there in the Tychos crater in episode 1 and 2. Here we go again. We just zoom in. We see right angles happening again. Squarish rectangle structures. We've got the large towers on one side. They're about 60, I think, 70, yep, common size. Seems zigzag courtyards around it. This can't be a natural formation as well. It just, every time I try to think how it could be natural, I just come against a brick wall. Let's pick some other structures that indicate this as well. We'll just zoom into this way right here. Again, the same sort of structure. This as well, large towers on one side, smaller ones inside, and that very thin pattern on the outer side of the excavation. There's no roads or other interconnecting structures. Here we have a very good example of squarish excavation around the main structure. Again, all the same type of pattern, but they're different in each. They're all very unique in their formation. Here we go again. We see from top that it can't be a natural formation. We got 3 towers there in the large crater. We got that zigzag pattern happening again. That one there is a good example. We got like a very rectangular area around it, zigzag pattern, 1 tower inside the excavation. This is a good example as well. This is the only one that breaks the rule, where we've got large towers on one side and the other, and next to it we've got that square courtyard in that other structure. How this could be unnatural is beyond me. That one there as well. We've got large excavation. It's about 210 a metre. The towers on this side are about 50 metres going perpendicular. On the other side they're about 70. Again, the towers are always on the outer side, but in this case in nearly the same size, which is very unusual. How that could be a natural structure, I don't see that happening. But on the other hand, it's even more hard to believe they're alien structures. How humans could have built that without leaving any roads or mounds of soil nearby from the construction. I don't know. Here we go again, that example, one tower inside, we'll find a pattern on the outer side. Again, hard to believe how that could be anything that's unnatural. Same pattern again, you see the square areas around the main tower. Everywhere we zoom in and try to hopefully see something that's a natural formation, it's just too hard to believe they could be unnatural. There's too many zigzag patterns, they look to be formed by some other sort of intelligence. Here we go again, there's 2 and 1 sideways, which is perpendicular. We've got that area around it, which looks like a little fine courtyard. It's a flat area always around it. Again, here we go again. Larger towers on one side, a smaller, finer system on the outer side. Excavation in the middle. It doesn't look human, it doesn't look unnatural. It only leaves one other thing, which is alien construction. Here we go again, just zooming in. Here we have a nice formation. We've got craters happening, we've got all sorts of rod structures again. There's 2 there down the bottom in a sort of a rectangle area, and here we have 2 or 3 or 4 joined together to form a large tower in the center here, which again, how can that be a natural formation? Here we have a large system of rectangular type patterns and greenery. There's 2 towers in the center there. Then we come down to the left of this tower I was talking about. There's about 2 or 3 joined there. They look about, I think, 60 meters each, which is again the common size of these towers. Okay, it's 50. Well, that's about 15 stories here on Earth, so they're not small, even though they look small here on the Google Moon image. By no certain means are they small. Here we have one more example. There's an excavation. There's large towers on one side, which are very clear. There's a very fine system on the opposite side, and here I can just see 2 internal structures inside. These are very bright, these ones. Here we go. Very bright towers on one side. Very luminous, actually. And on the other side we have that common pattern happening again. Hard to believe how again this could be a natural formation or a crystalline formation happening. That's the last example in this video. It all just shows a common pattern, and this is just a common